Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Guys, welcome back to our /IDontWorkHereLady, where you'll hear stories about people who mistake regular Joe Schmoes as employees. And I have no idea how it continues happening, but it does. My friends, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And as always, the stories in this episode are ridiculous. So sit back, grab a drink, put your feet up, and do enjoy the stories. But before we get into that, do hit that subscribe button for future tales, guys. So a couple of years ago, I was working for a theme park as a live entertainment support tech. This particular story takes place on my second day of work, after returning from a 4-year hiatus. We were all working hard to get the summer show up on its feet, and ready for tech in a couple of weeks, so we took a longer lunch break than normal. We were at a pizza place across the street. Now, the way we dressed for the position was fairly distinctive amongst our staff, but I guess less so when you leave the park. We were wearing black from top to bottom. The black shirts we had, as well as the baseball caps several of us were wearing, had the name of the theme park and entertainment in silver, in less than missable font. The pizza place, however, had black polos, and though they were a similar black theme, they were not at all alike. Anyway, sorry for the long setup, but it's important to know how unbelievable the situation was. So I'm making my way through the buffet, grabbing pizza and some salad, when I hear it. The impatient shriek of, "Excuse me." Now, I'm focused on my lunch, as we're still on a time crunch after all. So naturally, I assume this woman just wanted me to step aside, so I politely moved. I hear a distinctive huff, and then I felt a not too gentle tap on my shoulder. I then turned around, confused, and said, "Can I?" But before I can get more words out, she says, "Finally, I've managed to get someone's attention. All these tables are filthy, and I want you to clean them up for me." Now, I did blink for a moment, about to utter the words you all expect. I got as far as, "I don't," and she says, "Listen, I know you're on your lunch break, but you can stuff your face after you do this for me. You have a paying customer here with no place to sit. Am I just supposed to eat standing like an animal?" And yes, she actually said that, and yes, she was that rude. I then point to the logo on my work shirt, and she doesn't even look. But nonetheless, I say, "I'm sorry, I can't clean your table for you. There's someone at the register, maybe they can..." She then interrupts me a third time and says, "You are right here right now. Why should I have to wait for someone else to do your job?" Now at this point, I just sigh and begin to walk off. Karen shrieks, "I want to talk to your manager." Now as it so happens, guess who was sitting at the table with our staff? Suddenly, I get an idea that probably belongs on malicious compliance. I flag my manager over and he says, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, "This woman said she wanted to speak to my manager." And before my manager can utter another word, the Karen says, "This lazy employee isn't doing her job. I want you to tell her to clean me a table." So my manager tells her, this person doesn't work for the pizza place and neither do I." Karen shrieks, "What is wrong with people these days? No one ever gives good service anymore." My manager, seeing what I'd just been putting up with, went off on Karen. She didn't yell, and she was very controlled to the point that it was scary. I wish I could remember exactly what she said, but I had wandered out of earshot after she told me to take my food and sit down. All I know is Karen finally seemed to get the message, and here's the best part. I don't know why exactly, but Karen left without ever eating a single slice of pizza that she paid for. My manager ended up giving me some cash to cover my lunch after all the crap. So thanks, Karen, I guess. Guys, I am surprised that OP kept her cool when that Karen was yelling at her. "Oh, I know you're on lunch break, but you can stuff your face after you clean my table." I love this person's comment right here. On lunch break equals not getting paid. Why would I care if you are a paying customer or a civilized mass of squirrels in a trench coat? So basically, I live in a small apartment above a bar that has a really good kitchen. Over time, I've become friends with the owners who are really great people. This past weekend, there was lots of noise coming from the bar at about midnight, so I came to complain. Now, they said they couldn't do too much about the noise. It was a crowd watching a game, but if I came in at some point during the week, they'd give me dinner for free, as an apology. And that brings us to yesterday. I had gotten off work late and did not feel like cooking, so I decided to cash in on that aforementioned free dinner. As I'm eating, things start to get really loud and busy again, so I ask for my meal to be put in a to-go container. Now, the owner said that I could just take the plate upstairs, as long as I return it later that night or the next day. As I'm leaving, still shoveling fries into my mouth, I notice a woman trying to flag me down from her table. Now, I assumed she was looking at a server behind me, so I took no notice and walked outside, carrying my dinner. I put down my plate to open the door, and while I'm rooting through my pockets, I feel a sharp tap on my shoulder. For the story's sake, let's just call her Karen. Karen says, "Don't you just ignore me like that. I ordered almost 40 minutes ago and I have not gotten my food. This is unacceptable." Now, I'm thinking this can't be true. Considering when it's packed, I've never waited longer than 30 minutes. I said, okay, not quite sure what she wants. Karen says, "What do you mean okay? What are you gonna do about it? I want my meal discounted for this." Now, I finally realized what happened and I said, I don't work here. You'll need to speak to someone who does about doing that. So Karen then says, "Don't lie to me." She then looks past me up the stairs. She says, "I know you guys are just hiding up there instead of working. I'd love to speak to the owner." I tell her, "Lady, this is my apartment. Please leave me alone." Now, I want to note that I'm holding the door open while I bend over to pick up my meal. Karen then pushes past me and charges up the stairs, screaming as she goes, saying, "You guys better get back to work. There's people waiting to be served down here." Now, at this point, she's reached the top of the stairs and is now looking around my room, realizing the only person she was yelling at was my fish, who I'm sure wasn't in the mood to serve her anything after that. I said, "See, get out of my apartment." Karen then says, "Well, it doesn't change the fact that I've been waiting for ages for my food, and that's unacceptable." She then looks at my plate and says, "Clearly you know the owner, so I think you should talk to them about my food." I told her, "No, get out." I'm out of patience at this point and begin to walk towards her and try to usher her back down the stairs. She then ran back down the stairs and slammed the door on her way out. However, not before kicking a pair of my shoes into the street, which I then had to go out to collect. I saw the owner today when I gave the plate back, and he said the lady had come back down and caused a scene in the bar. Eventually, the bouncer had to remove her. I still couldn't believe that she tried to act like she was right, even though she realized that she was standing in my apartment, not a restaurant. Guys, was anybody else worried about the food that OP was holding the whole time? I was so worried that that lady was gonna knock the food out of OP's hands, ruining her meal, because she never got hers. So this person says, "I used to live in an apartment above the diner I worked in. So many people went up to my apartment looking for the bathroom, it wasn't even funny. Like, they literally knocked on the stairwell door, went upstairs, and then waited for someone to get done using the bathroom forever." So I guess it does happen, my friends. And this person says, "You should have Sparta kicked her right back down the stairs." Ain't that the truth, my friend? Ain't that the truth? Especially when she barges into your apartment. I mean, who the heck does that? Come on. She ruined OP's fish's day. So, yesterday at about 2:30, I was shopping at my local smiley face box store. As I usually do, I stop and check out their app to figure out what aisle the stuff is on, since they did a reset a few months ago, and I haven't yet become accustomed to the layout. While standing in the aisle searching the app, I hear a very loud throat-clearing sound. It was at that point that I knew I had my opportunity to try a new tactic. Now, I have been verbally obscene in the past, and this time I was gonna play nice. The lady didn't look like a stereotypical Karen. She had red highlights and curly hair. And to be open, I'm wearing a green shirt with a Minecraft creeper on it. She says, "Ahem, excuse me, hey." I want to note that there were no pauses when she said that. Now, her hand was on her hip and her head was tilted, in that I'm about to go off on you the way that Karens go off on you before threatening a manager. I asked, "Yes?" "I've been here waiting for over 10 minutes, she says. I cut her off mid-sentence as I feel a bit cheeky, and I say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry you had to wait. Why didn't you get my attention sooner? Since you're here now, can you check the back for this foot spa? The app said you have one in stock, but the slot is empty." Now, Karen is dumbfounded at this point, and she says, You're supposed to be helping me." I asked, "I am? Well, I guess I can go back with you to check. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, or even if I'm allowed to go back there, but I'm game." Karen looks at me and says, "Excuse me? You're the one who works here." I told her I'm pretty sure I don't. However, judging by your blue shirt, you're the employee I requested 15 minutes ago. Do you have any idea what it's like to wait that long for an employee, and then have them lie and say they don't work here? I should have you fired. So at this point, Karen is starting to get enraged, and she says, "I don't work here, you dumbass. What are you even talking about?" I then said to her, Well, then why would you come up to a customer who is obviously waiting on someone and then tell them that you had been waiting for their attention for 10 minutes? Karen then responds, I didn't. Yes, you did. Now don't lie to me twice. Do we need to get your manager up here? So at this point, she lets out the loudest humph sound and walks off muttering that I'm a stupid idiot under her breath. I continued my shopping and ultimately checked out. Probably the most fun I've had diffusing a situation without the use of profanity and without an actual employee getting involved. Oh, my friends, this is absolutely brilliant. Like, are you guys taking notes? This is how to successfully diffuse an I don't work here situation in less than a minute. You just pull out the Uno reverse card and just fry their brain. Now, I am Armenian American, and I kind of look Armenian and I kind of look American, but I have a ginger beard. I was wearing basketball shorts and a black t-shirt along with my white gold necklace. I went to Best Buy with a friend and his mother, and we were in the home theater section. As I'm helping them pick out some speakers and explaining in Armenian how the home theater components work, I feel a tug on my necklace. Now, this necklace was given to my father from his now deceased mother, and he gave it to me. This necklace means a lot to me. I felt a tug on my chain and turned around angrily to see a man in his mid-40s or so. He snidely says, "Can you hurry up with them and help out the rest of the people here? And you shouldn't be talking in foreign languages in America, especially when you're working." Now, I told him I don't work here. If you touch me again, we're gonna have a problem. He says, "You don't get to talk to customers like that and still have a job. Where is your manager? This is not whatever hellhole you came from. You can't treat people like this." Now, the irony was not lost on me, and I was getting very mad. My friend knows that when I'm mad, I start smiling when I'm angry. And I get a little stupid, so he tells me to relax and kind of guides me away from him. Now, security is coming over at this point, as the man has decided to follow my friend and me. He keeps ranting as I'm trying to stay calm, and my friend is doing his best impression of a peace-filled monk. Now, security comes over to me first, and asks me to go with him. I agree, and tell my friend and his mother to come get away from the guy. As security is walking with us to sort out what's going on, the guy decides to poke the side of my face. Now, this causes a problem. I push him away angrily, but thankfully my friend grabs me and keeps me from retaliating. The guy then spits on my friend while trying to spit on me, and he says some more racist things. Security goes to grab him, but before he gets there, we hear a loud smack and see him stumble a few feet to the left. So it turns out my friend's mother, in her late 50s, had taken off her thick-soled immigrant sandal and smacked the man on the side of his face. Hard. Very hard. If anyone knows what those sandals are like, it's like the ultimate weapon in the hand of a mother. I would rather deal with a Navy SEAL than a mother with those sandals. Security then tackles the guy and my friend calms down his mother and the cops arrive. After reviewing the tape and taking statements, the guy gets arrested for a couple of counts of assault and battery. Now, I do get confused for a worker all the time, especially if I speak Armenian to someone else. This was the first time it'd gotten physical, and only the third time that I had a confrontational exchange about it. I just couldn't believe it had actually happened for another couple of hours, and I'm still weirded out by it. We ended up getting a sweet deal for some speakers for him, so it was a net positive experience. The guy definitely sounded like he was unhinged. You can't treat people like that. He then proceeds to go poking people in the face, spitting on people when he didn't get what he wanted, and shout racist remarks. Yeah, he definitely deserved that sandal to the face. This story takes place about a year ago. At the time, I worked security at a big box store. I was on my way home from work, still in uniform, and decided to stop at a grocery store to find something for dinner. Now, normally I'm the kind of shopper that's in and out very quickly, but I had a bad day at work and I wanted something nice for dinner. So I wander lazily around the store, unwinding and figuring out what to eat. I go down the canned good aisle and this lady looks at me, she spins around at the speed of sound and starts screaming at me. She says, "What do you want? I'm not stealing anything. Stop following me, you racist." Now, I was in shock for a moment, as she went from totally silent to ear-splittingly loud in 0.2 seconds. I told her, "Lady, I'm not following you. I don't even work here. I'm just browsing around." She says, "Yes, you do. I see you here all the time. I'm gonna get you fired for this. You can't just follow colored people around." Now, I am trying my hardest to not start screaming back at her. I said, "Ma'am, as I said, I don't work for the company. I'm just a customer. Now please leave me alone." For whatever reason, this made her even more pissed off, and she started to babble incoherently at higher and higher volumes. At this point, I've had enough and walk off before she tries to attack me. So as I exit an aisle, the manager comes up and says that he heard the screaming and asked if everything's okay. The lady then barrels down the aisle like a T-Rex pursuing its prey and demands that she be compensated for being discriminated against. I tell the manager that she started to go off on me and all I wanted to do was finish shopping. The manager confirms that I do not work for him and even points to my company's logo on my uniform. Well, Rexy is having none of it and continues screaming, calling the manager a liar until the manager tells her to leave or he will call the police. She then stomps out the door, and the manager apologizes to me and offers me a discount on my purchase. Now, I did turn him down as none of it was his fault, but he insisted, so I accepted and went home to make my fully loaded nachos. And let me tell you that they were some damn fine nachos. We moved into a new house a few years ago. 2 days after we get settled in, it's a gorgeous day, so I'm out tending the garden. If you live in Louisiana, you'll realize that nice days are few and far in between. It's hot and muggy. About 30 minutes after I start, this woman walks beside the house. She compliments my garden and asked how much my services cost. So I told her, "Ma'am, I don't do services." Now about this time, my husband walks out and puts something into the car. So all is perfectly fine, right? No. This woman decides to call the police and tell them that we are robbing the place. Now, I don't know if her watching my husband caused that thinking as he was pulling stuff out of the house and into the vehicle or what. But we're new neighbors. We moved in like a few days prior, so you'd think that she would have seen us moving. 3 cops show up a few minutes after she left. We didn't know she called the cops. They pull up while both of us are wondering what the hell happened. We thought someone we knew died, or our kid got arrested. But neither. They said we were called in as an active burglar, and we had to prove that the home was ours. She didn't even talk to us about or mention robbery. Although I guess in the moment she just lost it. People are crazy here. Guys, I have no idea what her logic was. What kind of robber breaks into a house and does freaking gardening? Oh, and that, my friends, brings us to another end of r/IDontWorkHereLady. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the stories today, and thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. If you guys missed the last episode of r/IDontWorkHereLady, I will link it right here. A Karen assumes that OP's a janitor since she looks poor, and it turns out her parents own the damn place that she's cleaning. Yikes. Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you.